Everybody ready down there? Yes, okay. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to our meeting tonight of the City Council. I will call the meeting to order, and we'll have a roll call by our City Clerk, Marcy Killian.
The record will reflect that all members are present.
We'll welcome Harlan Dunn tonight. He's a member of the Oak Hills Church, and he's going to lead our Pledge of Allegiance and our invocation. So welcome, Harlan.
Thank you, Council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now you please bow your heads as I pray. Dear wise and loving Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for substance and for our friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in the useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well for the freedom to embrace you or the freedom to reject you. Thank you for the loving us even so from your boundless and generous nature. In the scriptures you've said the citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of the city government, and in particular for this assembled council. I'm asking that you will gracefully grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflict interests and issues of our times, a sense of welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for the justice and the righteousness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives and joy in their tasks. I pray for the agenda set before them today. Please give an assurance of what you would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Fresno. It is in your blessed name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. In accordance with the Brown Act, I'd like to announce that as a result of convening simultaneous meetings, the members of the Bueno Sanitation District will receive compensation of $147.75 for the district meeting pursuant to the Bueno Sanitation District Ordinance 2006-1. And the next thing, we'll do the approval of our agenda by our city manager, Patrick Johnson.
Mayor, there are no changes to the agenda.
Okay. We had no closed session was held today, so we don't have that. So the next thing on our agenda is we did our roll call already. Now we're down to presentations, and so we have two proclamations. One is recognizing two of the recipients of our 2013 City of Vista Employee Awards for Steve Glaudini, Manager of the Year, and Natalie Jacobs, Employee of the Year. And actually, our Deputy Mayor, John Aguilera, is going to take those today. I'm sick, and I don't want to come down and spread it around, so I'm going to have him come down there and do the proclamations today. So I'll turn it over to you, John.
Excuse me. Our first person we'd like to recognize is Natalie Jacobs. Come on down, Natalie. Natalie was recognized recently for recipient from the City of Vista 2013 Employee of the Year Award. So I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation for you. Whereas Natalie is a Human Resource Coordinator in the Human Resource Risk Management Division, Natalie is responsible for the data input and maintenance of the payroll system, which includes not only employee profiles, but all deductions, accruals, pay types, position control, and salary tables as well. When a new employee is hired, has life-changing events that affect their profile, such as address change, marriage, the birth of a new child, or changes to withholdings for tax purposes, Natalie ensures that those changes are reflected timely, accurately in the system. Whereas as a result, Natalie may very well make up to 600 changes in the payroll system during any given pay period. However, Natalie does so much more. And I've made a few changes myself, so. She also provides statistical responses to federal monitoring programs like Equal Employment Opportunity, helps ensure that the city is compliant with FLSA regulations and fashions reports from the city's payroll system to respond to requests for information from other public agencies as well as public records requests. And Natalie's most recent display of exceptional performance was in December over a brief one-week period where Natalie was responsible for implementing timely payroll changes for all employees due to negotiated increases, stipends, tax status changes, and separating employees who were retiring. And whereas all this happened seamlessly in addition to her usual day-to-day activities, Natalie's exceptional work and thoroughness in service to her fellow employees exemplifies the qualities for Employee of the Year. The mayor and the members of the Vista City Council appreciate Natalie's efforts on behalf of the city and congratulate her for being chosen as recipient of the 2013 Employee of the Year Award. Now, therefore, the mayor and the members of Vista City Council do hereby proclaim Thursday, March 13th, 2014, as Natalie Jacobs Day in the city of Vista.
Hey, you know what, John? It might be nice to have the whole council. Would you like to have your picture taken with Natalie, maybe? Everybody? Okay, and then I'll come down there, but then nobody touch me. I won't breathe on anyone.
Okay, next we'd like to recognize Steve Glaudini, who was recently recognized as the recipient of the City of Vista's 2013 Manager of the Year Award. Whereas in his first year as Artistic Director of the Cultural Arts Division, Steve has taken Moonlight Stage Productions to the next level in production value. He has brought new energy, enthusiasm, and a new spirit of cooperation to the cultural arts staff. And under Steve's direction, the show's selections are now announced 1 year in advance. This enables the theater's benefactors, the Moonlight Cultural Foundation, greater opportunities for fundraising and gives the city's marketing staff more to generate interest in the cultural arts. And whereas when Steve assumed his new role with the city, he was charged with expanding Moonlight's audience and bringing more current titles to the stage. Steve, along with the re-energized Cultural Arts Division, accomplished this in this first season, along with setting new records in attendance and revenue, generating new audiences, and for the first time in the division's history, finishing the fiscal year without the need of a general fund subsidy. So whereas the mayor and the members of Vista City Council sincerely appreciate Steve's work, on behalf of the City of Vista and congratulate him for being chosen as 2013 Manager of the Year. Therefore, the mayor and members of the Vista City Council do hereby proclaim Wednesday, March 12th, 2014 as Steve Glaudini Day in the City of Vista. Yep.
All right. That takes us to our consent calendar. Excuse me. The recommendations on the following consent calendar will be enacted in one motion unless an item is removed from the calendar. Any member of the public may remove an item by submitting a request to speak card to the clerk secretary, and items removed from the consent calendar will be considered immediately following the adoption of the calendar. So with that, we will go to our consent calendar, and I'll ask, is there anything here pulled off? Nothing. I see nothing from the audience pulled off. Is there anything that from the council members? Then I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar, consent items 1 through 7.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That passes unanimously, the consent calendar. The next thing on our agenda, then, we're going into our discussion, which would be our first discussion item is our bargain basement store regulations. And so we will have John Conley. Are you going to give us a report?
Yes, I am, Mayor. Thank you. We came to the City Council back toward the end of last year to discuss our general plan and the update that we did in 2012. And a number of items were mentioned as part of that review that the Council wanted to revisit. This is one of them, the bargain basement store. Bargain basements and the definition and the use permit requirement for the city was established in 2009 with the passage of an ordinance by the City Council. It accompanied a list of other commercial uses that we intended to try to have more oversight of in certain commercial areas. They affect the C1, C2, and C3 zones, as well as the M1 zones, so all of the commercial and heavy commercial zones. The downtown specific plan, or a portion of that, was added in 2012, and the mixed use zone, the mixed use zone was added in 2012. The downtown specific plan was added in 2010. Anyway, the point of the changes were to improve the city's commercial corridors and have a thorough review of certain commercial uses. Bargain basement stores are defined within our code as a store where the majority of new items sold are at or below $5. The majority of floor space occupied by items priced at or less than $5 is within the store. Or the majority of items are used, or the majority of floor space comprises used items, so it's a fairly wide range of retail stores. It excludes a number of specialized antique and consignment stores, stores dedicated to specialized goods that are listed there, but the focus is on discount items. The zoning designations I mentioned before are shown on the map, primarily the commercial corridors along West Vista Way and Hacienda, East Vista Way, North Santa Fe, a small area off the freeway near Sycamore, and a portion of the downtown plan near Civic Center Drive down to about Monte Vista. So the purpose of the meeting tonight is to talk about what the council would like to see in the way of any changes with respect to the bargain basement requirements. Some of the considerations that we've discussed with the Planning Commission a few weeks back when we met with them on it, that they might consider are changes to the definition, how we define those types of uses, changing the zoning designations within which they're allowed, considering additional policy review or having us write a policy and do some research on the potential impact of these uses or how we might better regulate them, and or standard conditions. And standard conditions could be, a number of different things that we impose with respect to reviewing special use permits for these uses. The Planning Commission discussed the item, and amongst a number of things came up with consensus on a few items. One of those is to separate the categories of stores that sell used goods, like thrift stores, secondhand stores, from those that sell new goods, because they're both part of the same definition right now. They felt that there was still a real need to have regulatory review over stores that sell used goods because of the potential community impacts of some of those stores, but that stores that sell new goods should be relooked at in terms of the $5 threshold. That $5 threshold tends to capture a lot of larger corporate stores that have lower priced items but maybe have a range of household goods or their own marketable products rather than overstock items or true 99-cent discount stores. And so they recommended looking at that threshold and possibly reducing it so that there's a more refined look at the true discount stores. There was also a discussion regarding separation distances and having a minimum separation between those types of stores, and we felt that's very difficult to do because of the ability to identify them. And there was also discussion of size, minimum size of the facility in terms of it can't be greater than a certain square footage for the floor space, but there wasn't consensus among the group as to what that should be or what the focus was, whether it was on smaller mom and pop stores or larger corporate stores. So the only recommendations that came out of the meeting where there was consensus are the top two items. And so I'm looking for council's input on any changes we'd like to make this evening, and I'm open for any questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, we have two speakers. Would you like to hear the speakers first, everyone?
Sure.
Okay, our first speaker is Sue Doucette, as followed by Cliff Kaiser. Hi, Sue.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Piper, and secretaries. This is not my first trip to the rodeo. I've met with each of you individually. I did attend the Planning Commission meeting on the 18th, and I pointed out that of the 5 stores on Vista Way, 2 of them sell all used donated items, 2 of them sell everything for under $1, and Family Dollar sells all new items, which happen to have over 50% under the $5 mark. I know when Family Dollar came into Vista, there was a huge hoopla because you felt like they just came in, they were a bargain basement store and didn't represent themselves correctly, when in fact they have over 8,000 stores nationwide. This was the one and only time they had ever encountered this particular special use permit application. We've hit some highs and lows in dealing with Family Dollar over the last year. At one point, it looked like they were ready to bail. We talked with Dollar General and got the general consensus that they said dealing with the people in Vista left a bad taste in their mouth. As a resident of Vista for over 50 years, I didn't like to hear that about my city. Both Dollar General and Family Dollar are national corporations. They generate billions of dollars of sales nationwide. They do demographics. They know where they're going to be successful, and they were both interested in our town. So that says something for the city of Vista. I know that you have a bad taste about dollar stores, but other than the ones on Vista Way and the one in Shadow Ridge, I really don't see an overabundance. And because there happen to be 5 in a row, they were put there through the Planning Commission and the approval of the City Council. So if you have a problem, it's kind of like accept some responsibility for that. Family Dollar has gone ahead and they will be submitting an SUP, or they have submitted a special use permit, and it will be heard by the Planning Commission on April 1st. I've also, in my dealings with our real estate agent, I know that a special use permit will be applied for a thrift store in Shadow Ridge. The Salvation Army's looking at the old Big Lots store. So they're clearly different businesses. I hope you take into consideration and really weigh, what we want to do. The $5 limit could possibly even capture a store like Walmart. Certainly, if the pharmacies in town didn't have pharmacies, it would be CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid would all fall in those same categories. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Cliff Kaiser?
Good evening, Mayor. I have a tough time getting my hands around this issue because this is a tough decision for you guys to make, because at one end we have high-end retailers such as Lowe's and Famous Dave's and the Kokori and all those other stuff that we would just love, and we do love having them here in Vista. And then there's other businesses that we've clearly said, this is not your town. We don't want any more bail bonds, I don't think, being sold in Vista. Pawn shops, tattoo parlors, hookah lounges, stuff like that, adult stores of all ranges. That's stuff that's obvious because of moral, cultural, or other reasons. We just don't want them here in Vista. But I have a tough time trying to figure out how a discount store such as Family Dollar or other even dollar stores compare to that. So you have the spectrum of high-end retailers or name brands and these other undesirables here. And when I think about where a bargain basement store fits in there, it's flat in the middle for me. I mean, the businesses, the market is determining that, and a lady like this is saying, hey, we can come to this town and sell, bring you jobs, bring you tax revenue, and sell to you, the residents here of Vista, and she's having a tough time getting her store opened. And, let's say there's a third and a fourth and a fifth that want to open that store. it's just hard for me to understand why they're going to be cut out. You know, are there too many Walmarts? Are there too many Lowe's or home improvement stores? I suppose you could make that argument, but this seems like a stretch to me to be able to say, no, we don't want those types of stores anymore, those types of stores here in Vista. Let the market decide, and if the economy improves, if the community improves, maybe they'll go away because they're no longer suitable. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Council. Does anybody have anything to say? Councilmember Coles.
Mr. Kaiser, I think those were good comments. I appreciate what you said, because there is an end of the spectrum, and we need to try to find something that will benefit our community as well as our image. And I, for one, am not as opposed to some of the so-called bargain basement stores as others have expressed in the past. I think I know, for one, I have friends and even someone close in my family that was very disappointed when Big Lots left not only Shadow Ridge but the other location in Vista, because you know, she loved to go in there and browse and prowl and find bargains. Dollar store now is up by Albertsons in Shadow Ridge area, and we go there occasionally, and it's a good place to go when you're planning a party for youngsters or other special occasions. And I think we need access to this in our neighborhood. And I see people in there busily buying a lot of things and spending a lot of money. So I'm certainly open, as a part of this discussion tonight, to modify and adjust some of the things that we have in place. I think, you know, as was stated earlier, the corporate models that come in, they bring an image that they're trying to maintain as well. In fact, you know, last summer we were visiting in New York, and I took a picture of it. I can't put it up on the screen. Right by Yankee Stadium is a Family Dollar store. Right there, if you go out the door of Yankee Stadium, and across the street is a Family Dollar store. And yeah, I think the Planning Commission made some very good comments to give us a little bit of guidance as we have this discussion tonight. I see a separation between used article stores and new item with discounted prices. Those are two different categories. I certainly don't want, you know, neighborhood garage sales becoming storefronts in our town. I think the image is an issue that we can address as a part of anything we do. We have signage regulations that will pretty well keep control over gaudy or inauspicious signage that would be unattractive. We have code enforcement that can certainly monitor any complaints that come up, and so again, I'm here and open to relaxing some of the restrictions that seem to be in place now.
Councilmember Rigby.
Thank you. I see that one of the things that was discussed was lowering the threshold, and the Planning Commission had discussed going from the $5 to $2. I'm not sure that I would be in favor of that, and I'm not sure that a lot of the stores that were mentioned earlier actually would fall into that category. I would like to see it stay at $5, but some of the other recommendations that I see here that were put in the staff report regarding signage, graffiti, loitering, etc., I think those are all good ideas, and I'd like to see those stay in the code for that. It is difficult, Cliff, Mr. Kaiser, when you're talking about the bargain basement stores and free enterprise, etc., because I agree for the most part. There is an image issue with a lot of the bargain basement stores and the dollar stores, etc. They are not well maintained. They have some issues with image, with graffiti, with signage, with their stores not being kept up. That's not the kind of thing that we want here. And we want to attract other higher-end retail as well. We have the Krikorian, we have some of the restaurants, but we don't have any retail, higher-end or mid-range retail outlets here in Vista, which is what we would also like to attract. And in reading different articles recently regarding corporate businesses and retailers that are looking for new areas to go into, they also look at what you have existing. And there comes a point where the community is saturated with certain types of businesses where they're not going to want to move in next door or across the street. And I think that we do have, I think we have too many right in a row on Vista Way. And I think that if we could take one or two of those out of that area and put them in other parts of Vista, I think that would be beneficial to the communities in those areas, and have them, you know, equally spread out throughout Vista, I think is a good idea. But I understand that that's very difficult to do when we're not sure the existing businesses out there. So it's very difficult. This is a very complex issue. It's got a lot of different levels that we need to look at to be fair to everybody. And I'm not sure that this is going to be our last discussion on this issue. So that's pretty much my comment tonight.
I don't see anybody else pushing their button up. Okay. Deputy Mayor John Aguilera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My thoughts on this are a couple of different things. One is just from a business standpoint, it makes sense to allow businesses that want to come here and do business in our city to let them do that, as long as they're responsible businesses. They stick to whatever ordinances or code that, you know, we decide is required of that business. Businesses don't, especially Family Dollar and these big lots and some of these bigger corporate stores, they don't just set up shop somewhere where they think they're going to fail. They don't set up shop where they haven't done their research. There's a lot of money that these organizations, companies spend on researching their demographics. And it is kind of a chicken and egg thing, but you know, if we somehow were to attract Nordstrom's, Pier 1, and some of these higher end stores to Vista, you know, people aren't just going to move here that can afford to go to those stores. It's the other way around. Stores go to where the demand is. They don't provide the supply and then the people move to those places. It just doesn't work that way. We have our work cut out for us as a council, and future councils do as well. We've got to, you know, change things in the city, change the image of the city, but it doesn't start with regulating businesses and not allowing businesses in our city. Mr. Kaiser made some good points. There are certain businesses that I can see that we probably want to limit or eliminate completely for cultural or moral reasons. I think that makes sense. But the businesses that we're talking about have nothing to do with morals or culture. It really has to do with economics. And if my wife or, you know, your mom or you personally, or, you know, people here out here in the community want to go to a dollar store, you know, we shouldn't want to stop those people from doing that. It is a demand. Now, I kind of want to approach this from our goal setting workshop that we had about a week and a half ago, last week. We had a workshop where we set goals, and I just want to go over a few of the goals that we discussed. One was we want to eliminate the budget deficit. 2 was blight, image, and various other things that have to do with how our city is perceived. And 3 was economic development. And I think that by not allowing certain businesses into our city, I think we're going against what our goals are as a council. First of all, the budget deficit, the only way we're going to eliminate budget deficit is by generating revenue for the city. And businesses are a big part of what generates taxes or a revenue stream for our city. And if we start getting real selective about what businesses we want to allow, it's going to be harder to eliminate that budget or, the deficit. So, these are things we've got to think about. Businesses are our lifeblood, along with, of course, property taxes. So let's talk about that, the blight image of our city. We have a lot of vacant properties in our city that need to be filled, and blight is usually, it can be an old building or what have you that's not been taken care of and maybe filled with a business. But a lot of times our city, I think a big part of the blight happens to do with empty businesses, properties that are not well kept because the property owners aren't generating rent, so they're not keeping up their lots or their properties. They're boarded up. And if we've got businesses that want to come in and fill those holes and provide a service to our community, we should let them do that. Now, when businesses come in, typically they're going to go ahead and put some new paint, maybe change the facade, do some landscaping, and Planning Commission can get involved with going ahead and handling a lot of those things and making sure that our image is changed in the city of Vista. We're not going to have Rodeo Drive in downtown Vista, but we can have some filled up properties. And then the other thing is the economic development. And Mr. Kaiser alluded to this, corporate businesses like this provide jobs to the community, to many of these people out here. We got a lot of young people out here who will be graduating high school in the next year or two, and they're going to be looking for jobs. These are going to be the kind of jobs that are provided by this. There's also going to be managerial positions that are provided and opportunities for people to move up in that corporation, perhaps. So, we need to start thinking about that. And then the last thing with that economic development is the property taxes. I've already mentioned this earlier, but properties that don't generate revenue in a commercial area have a lot less value than properties that have a revenue stream. People that buy real estate don't buy, some do buy empty lots when they're speculation. But for the most part, you're going to buy a property for the revenue stream. And if your property is here, property A, and it's generating money, and you got property B, and it's not generating money, which one's going to be worth more to you? The one that's generating money. These people, they want to generate money for themselves, and those are the people that are most likely going to invest money into our city as well. So with that, I would like to close, or I guess I'm done at this point. The mayor's itching to speak, so thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Oh, Councilmember Campbell. I'll continue itching to speak.
Go ahead, Mayor, if you'd like.
That's okay, go ahead.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with Councilman Aguilera and agree with Councilwoman Rigby. I think that in the grand scheme of things, we have to look at sort of that 10,000-foot view of the city and not look just on a case-by-case basis in certain streets and certain areas and individual businesses, but look at overall the long term, where do we want our city to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 2 decades from now? What are the kind of jobs that we want to see created within the city? What are the kinds of businesses that we want to see move into our downtown area? What sort of improvements long-term do we want to do on our North Santa Fe area? And I think that if you look at the city of Vista, the number of what we classify as bargain basement stores that we currently have within the city, and you look at other cities, you look at cities that took the initiative to utilize their economic development departments to attract quality, job-creating, revenue-generating businesses. Look at Oceanside, what they've done over the last few years in their downtown area, attracting new businesses, and the number of people that go there and the revenues that's generated through that. I think that I would have a real issue with changing the $5 threshold that we currently have on the books. But I do agree that some of the recommendations that came out of the Planning Commission, like the standard conditions that we can put on the SUPs, would be a good step to ensuring that we have the tools that we need for businesses that do have an SUP approved to make sure that their premises are kept within the image that we want to project as a city. One of the things that I have an issue with is when I've talked to other developers and I've talked to business owners that have looked within moving their business to Vista, having more bargain basement stores is something they've told me would be a negative for them to move a business to the city. Obviously, Councilman Aguilera is correct. There is the free market aspect of, do we allow businesses to move in? It's the free enterprise system. But it's our responsibility as a council to ensure that the direction the city is going in represents our quality of life in the community that we want to see move in. And I think some of the goals that we set as a council, as Councilman Aguilera mentioned just last month, was creating, attracting quality businesses that provide jobs that improve the quality of life throughout the city. And, just an example, I think an improvement in terms of revenue potential that we have is where the Big Lots left a location in Vista off of Emerald. Now we're getting a Smart and Final to move in. Those are the types of opportunities that are created within the city when, as a council, we set a direction that says we want to see this type of business come to the city. If we just say we're not going to have any regulations and we just want business to run freely, there's a market for marijuana dispensaries to be located all over the city. There's a market for all sorts of activities and businesses that absolutely, if I came to the council, if I was a business owner and said, I want to bring this another bail bond store to the city, I don't think we would say that that's a positive for the community. But obviously, if they're wanting to move here, if under that logic, there must be a market for it. So I don't buy into that argument that we just need to let things move into the city if they want to come here because they think that they're going to be successful. What I see is it's our job to help be a guiding force within the community to attract businesses that will help eliminate our budget deficit and help improve the quality of life for all Vista's residents. So at this time, I'm going to agree with Councilwoman Rigby, perhaps for a little bit different rationale, but to leave the $5 threshold in place and to look at creating additional standards for businesses that fall within this category.
Okay. So I will, actually I agree with you. I'd like to keep the additional standards, the conditions. I like that idea. I don't think I want to go lower on the $5 price threshold. But I know we need a different range of types of businesses, which include dollar stores and Vista. I think we need all of those things, and I agree with all of you, which makes it really hard because I can see both sides of it. I worry. I don't think it's just about economics. I think it's also about the image of our town, and I don't want and the blight, and I don't want to become the 99-cent capital of the San Diego County. So. And right now, if you want a dollar store, we have them. But I also have a problem. I also look at the larger dollar stores, and I'm not sure that they sell new goods. That's so bad. So for some of our places that are empty right now, so I'm like, I should have stayed in bed. Let you guys, because I think I'm right in the middle here. I might, if I could send it back to them, I might agree to doing what the Planning Commission said, separate the categories of stores that sell the used goods from the stores that sell the new goods, and then put requirements on those stores so that if they go into a shopping center, I want something back for that. I don't want some paint. I want the shopping center. Maybe I'd like to know what we could require, like if we require blacktop again or upgrade the facades of the store or whatever, the shopping center, so that it made it nicer. So maybe there would be, I might agree to that far, but that's, I don't want to just to agree to all 99-cent stores. So kind of that's where I am. So I don't know where that leaves all of you. Mr. Aguilera.
Well, I can agree to that. I think that's a good start, and I think it helps in meeting our goals that we've set as a city council. We can have these businesses help us in building our image, and I think the Smart and Final is a great example of where you allowed a discount store in at first, and another business saw an opportunity and came in. Rome wasn't built in a day. But you have to give it time. And then at the same time, we're talking about some of these businesses want to move to the north end of Vista, where these services aren't there. Smart and Final, that's freeway access. That's that's Oceanside almost. And so it's in a completely different area that I think a lot of businesses would be attracted to that area. Some of the areas like Mrs. Doucette is talking about, it's North Vista. There isn't any dollar stores there. And so, there is a need there. And a lot of the people that go to these stores walk. As I drive home every day, I see a lot of people walking. And some of them are young mothers with kids and what have you. They either don't have a car or a second car, whatever the situation is. They don't have the ability to go across town to the dollar stores that are on Vista Way. So I think we need to take that into consideration. And the other thing, as far as quality of life, I'm not really sure how a dollar store will reduce our quality of life in the city of Vista. I think it would improve our quality of life, because it's going to allow people to have access to the items that they want to purchase. So I think it would improve our quality of life. And I want to bring something up as far as desire of types of businesses. I was on the planning commission when Sonic was approved. At the time, I was very against having a Sonic in our downtown, not against having a Sonic period, but I really had this image idea when I first started in this business of, hey, that's not what I want to see in our downtown. That's not what I envision for Paseo Santa Fe. And meeting with Mr. Connolly, our former city manager, and I started to think a little bit differently. And and it really started with, well, let's fill the hole first, and let's see what happens. It's going to be something that's going to get things going. We don't see that as our image for downtown or Vista Village as a whole either. But let's fill that hole, and let's see what comes after. And since then, we've had some pretty quality businesses improve and open up shop in our downtown. Mother Earth has come to downtown. We've just opened up the 50 Barrels downtown. So we're starting to open up businesses. So it's not stopping these businesses from coming to our downtown. In addition to that, if we hadn't opened up the Sonic, I guarantee you it would still be empty. It would be an empty hole right now, and we wouldn't have what we have right now. It's going to take a long time, people. We just need to get the ball rolling, and I think that allowing these businesses in is going to get the ball rolling for various parts of our community. Thank you.
Councilmember Coles?
Madam Mayor, I want to thank you for your comments, because I think that's kind of, in essence, what we are trying to do is get a little bit of promotion for some of our shopping areas, along with, in exchange for maybe bringing in some new businesses. And
But new, but not used.
I didn't say used. I said new. Okay. And I'm not looking for more thrift shops. And in fact, it was very exciting to see Smart and Final coming in to the old Big Lots, but the other old Big Lots is going to be replaced by a drop-off Salvation Army possibly, or something like. I mean, that's a possibility. That's who's looking for that. So I think with having the planning director and the commission continue to work on some guidelines for us to go by, as per your suggestions, I can support that. I did have a conversation with one of the planning commissioners about this subject who said, you know, we'd rather have a business than an empty storefront. And we have had far too many empty storefronts in the visible parts of our city for far too long, and we need some vibrancy and some activity, some shopping activity. So I don't want to open the floodgates. I don't want us to have, you know, store after store of discount items, but I think with a very modest approach and a modest start, I think we just need to begin to find out what will come to us and consider them on a case-by-case basis. Thank you.
Councilmember Campbell.
Question for you, Mr. Conley, about the current process. Maybe you can describe to us a little bit for maybe the members of the audience that don't know. So, for instance, say the additional Family Dollar store that wants to move in on North Santa Fe. Under the current process, if we made no changes to our current bargain basement ordinance, how would that proceed?
They are required to process a special use permit, which is a discretionary permit process that goes before the Planning Commission and is appealable to the City Council. That process is generally used to evaluate land uses that could have an impact of the surrounding community or where the city wants to retain some kind of control, and so we can impose conditions upon the development or operation of those uses as part of that permit review.
Right. So let me just clarify, Mayor, the comments that you made were that you would maybe have kind of a compromise of saying not for stores that sell new items but are below the $5 threshold. If that action was taken, Mr. Conley, would that remove it from the special use permit process, potentially?
No, what I'm hearing from the council this evening is that you'd like to look at some standards, regulations, some type of review policy that we could bring back to the council that would have an explanation of the types of improvements the city would be looking for as conditions on those uses. And that can easily be done by staff. I didn't hear any support unanimously for changing the threshold or the definition.
Okay. So what I would like to see, I just want to make clear, is that we don't make any changes to requiring a special use permit for a used store or stores that sell new items. That would still be a requirement in our process. I just want to make sure that was clarified.
Okay. I don't see anybody else that wants to talk. With that, I would, I guess I would entertain doing a motion, or do you have direction?
I think I have sufficient direction if the city attorney's satisfied with that.
Okay, so we're good with that discussion? Okay, well then with that, we're going to move on to our next, we're going to open our public hearing for our general plan amendment and special use permit findings. And John Conley is also going to take that, I believe.
Thank you, Mayor. This is another report coming in the wake of our general plan review. One of the things that we discussed as part of that was commercial corridors and maintaining and improving the commercial corridors throughout town. And so we went back and looked at our general plan with respect to the policies that evaluate economic impact, business retention and promotion, trying to create a better business climate within the city, to see if there were opportunities to maybe make some modifications or add some policies that could better articulate what the city's trying to do with respect to our commercial corridors. So we are proposing a couple of changes to our land use and community identity element within the area of economic development and business retention. We're modifying one goal and adding 3 policies, which are listed in your staff report. In order to implement those goals, we're also making a recommendation to change our development code, the special use permit requirements, to modify the findings for a special use permit. There are currently 3 findings that need to be made when approving or evaluating a special use permit with respect to the impact that the permit may have on the land use in conformity with the general plan and the city zoning requirements, and any potential impact to health and safety. In evaluating the health and safety finding, you also cascade into other requirements like noise and smoke and nuisance and a whole list of other things. It's frankly not very straightforward in terms of the way the staff can evaluate all those uses. There's, in our opinion, a wider range of considerations that should be made when evaluating use permits, and so we're making a recommendation to change the current findings to a number of new findings that are also included in your staff report to evaluate a wider range of considerations in the review of those land uses. The general plan amendment and development code amendment both went to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission recommended unanimous approval of those actions with the staff recommendation unchanged. And that completes my staff report. Thank you.
Okay, so do we have any questions or comments? Everybody understands? Oh, we have one speaker, Cliff Kaiser. Oh, he's back just in time.
Mayor, apologize, Council. I didn't have a chance to talk with staff ahead of time, so I just have a couple of comments or questions. One is on the proposed Lucy Policy 77. This sounds like Henry Ford's, you can have any color you want as long as it's black, because it says we're going to offer this with the range of uses, residents and businesses, retail service options, while avoiding overrepresentation of a single business, unless, and then it has a caveat for everything. So that's a little confusing to me. The other comment I had is the existing wording for the special use permit under the current findings, the first paragraph or the first item is the proposed use at the particular location is necessary and desirable to provide an activity that will contribute to the general welfare or convenience or welfare of the neighborhood. That's not in the new proposed findings, and that seems like a good statement to have. So I'm just wondering why that statement has been removed from the new findings.
I would like to see what you're reading.
Sorry.
Well, number 1.
Both of this is on page 2 of 8.
Okay. Okay. It's number 1 under the development code, special use permit. That's where you're reading. The
That's
use?
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And basically what I'm saying is that number 1 sounds like a reasonable statement to include as one of your findings when issuing a special use permit, but it's not included in the new findings.
So, Mayor, if I may?
Yeah. Please answer.
The proposed staff recommendation or the changes that we're recommending, if you look at number 5, which is on page 3 of 8, it says the proposed use at its location will provide the neighborhood and or city with a service or facility that will contribute to its general welfare. That's intended to address the need for the use. It also goes into it won't unduly be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of persons in the vicinity, property or improvements in the vicinity, or the fiscal or economic interests of the city. So we're through the new correct, Mr. Kaiser is correct that we don't have the exact same language that it's necessary or desirable, but we are still finding that it contributes to the general welfare of the community through the findings that we're recommending.
Okay.
Okay. And could you comment, Mr. Conley, on my previous comment on 7.7?
7.7 focuses on the overrepresentation of a single business type. And so we're saying if there's an overrepresentation of one single business type that we don't feel benefits the community in some way, it gives us the discretion to not allow or require, a higher level of review for that use. If we can show that it provides benefits to the community through jobs or revenue that it creates, then we can allow for that overrepresentation, and that's essentially what the policy is asking for.
Okay, okay. Is that all your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council? If not, I would close the public hearing and I'll move to staff recommendation. Does anybody want to second that?
Second.
Okay, cast your votes, please. Okay, motion passes unanimously. The last public hearing on our agenda tonight is our 2012 Regional Transportation Improvement Program, which is called the RTIP Amendment. Oh, Mr. Conley's going to take
It's my
this.
night, Mayor. What can I say?
It's your night tonight.
The RTIP is our program that we work with Sandag. They maintain essentially a capital improvement budget similar to our own, which they call the RTIP. They provide us an annual allocation of Transnet funding, which is a sales tax funded transportation measure. All of the cities within the region get a percentage of that based on their population on an annual basis, and we're supposed to be using it for construction and maintenance of our regional roadway system. We are recommending some adjustments to our the projects that are in our current RTIP as a result of some changes in the upcoming CIP and grants and a few other things. And so those are listed in a table, at least the projects that are being adjusted that's in the staff report. There's also engineering staff here that prepared the report and can answer any questions about what those adjustments are. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions about the adjustments or the RTIP? Seeing none, then I guess I'll close the public hearing again. Somebody want to make a motion? Or do you want me to, okay, I'll make the motion. Staff recommendation. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Cast your votes, please. That motion passes unanimously. Okay, so with that, we're almost at the end here. We're going to oral communications, and I have a couple speakers. Oh, actually, I have a lot of speakers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speakers. So let's start with Brad and Davida Phillips.
Mind if Cindy goes first?
Oh, okay, okay. Next, Sean Grady. Does Sean want to speak? No. Oh, okay. Cindy Grady. Okay.
Well, good evening to my respected leaders.
Good evening.
Good
I have
evening.
some handout material. Should I hand it out?
You're right down here.
My neighbors and I are here tonight to request that a trail be included on the upcoming CIP, and we are hoping to get the City Council behind it. We live on Arbor Glen Lane, which is west of the intersection of Sycamore Avenue and Watson Way. Construction of our neighborhood was complete in 2012. Buena Creek is located at the end of our cul-de-sac, and the creek area has been a campsite for homeless people ever since we moved in. Constructing a trail to cut right through the campsite area will put the homeless people in plain view, thereby forcing them to leave. Deputy Maltzelberger from the San Diego County Sheriff's Department said in an email, "The river bottom is not only where homeless live, consume alcohol and drugs, and lay out their haul from the evening's burglaries of local residents. It's also where regular people go when looking for a private place to use drugs or have relations. The back parking lot of Shadow Ridge Plaza behind Stater Brothers and Uncle Tony's has been a conduit of crime for the past 6 years I have worked in Vista. They are leaving batteries and chemicals and their feces in the drainage of the protected property to enter the watershed. My neighbors and I are here to further discuss the request. My neighbors are here with me to further discuss the request. And we also would like you to know that we have support from many businesses in Shadow Ridge Plaza. I visited the trail that was recently built off Bale Terrace and Ponderosa near Bringle Terrace Park, which runs along the creek in a similar fashion. According to the Director of Community Development and Engineering, John Conley, the trail has been a big deterrent to homeless using that area. I had 2 lanterns stolen from my front porch about 1 year ago, so the homeless problem has definitely negatively affected me. On top of that, I'm worried about a new fire being started. A homeless guy was walking on our trail behind my house, cussing up a storm at 6:30 a.m. one Saturday morning when I had a sleepover with my little nephew. The success of the Brengle Terrace Park area trail makes me so excited to request this with my neighbors. If there are any questions after we're all finished, please let us know, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us. We have a plan of our area and showing the homeless camps.
Didn't I talk to you guys a year or 2 ago about it?
In September, yes.
Was it last September? Seems like a long time ago, yeah. I remember talking about this, and it still is a problem.
Yes.
Did we talk about putting a wall up or something there? What was that? I don't remember what that was. I just vaguely remember.
Well, that was the original request, was to have a wall that separates our neighborhood from Shadow Ridge Plaza.
Oh, yeah.
Right along here.
Okay.
Nobody wants to buy me a wall because they're expensive, so we kind of just forgot about that.
So this is your alternative that you're
This is the solution to the homeless problem. The wall was due to the noise created by Stater Brothers and just the shopping center in general. But then this is a whole different issue of our safety and all that.
Okay, I know it's not agendized, so I don't know what we can just listen. Just have to listen today. We can't do anything about it today.
No problem.
Do you have any questions of them? No? So, did anybody else want to speak from your neighborhood, Sean? Or?
Yes, at least, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Hi, Mayor. I just wanted to elaborate on the businesses affected by all the homeless people. I've been in talks with most of the businesses. Let's see. Right here, kind of on the north side of the shopping center. I think they're affected the most. There's a dentist, and she's been personally attacked by a homeless lady before. First of all the businesses are strongly for a trail, just because the whole shopping center needs help with the issues. And then the preschool, La Petite preschool. Are you aware of?
I know it's there. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, it's actually right up here.
Right.
So I talked to the director just a couple of days ago, and it's pretty disturbing. So the playground is in the back, obviously, and kids have found condoms, like on the playground. They hear the homeless people cursing, and they've had to put up privacy. They had to spend a lot of money to put up a privacy fence because of them. There's a long list of issues, but yeah, we think a trail would definitely. It's not going to solve all the issues, but it's definitely going to help. So yeah, we're hoping we could add this to the CIP, and hopefully we could get that, because I'm pretty sure it's something that's going to happen at some point regardless. I know it's on the agenda. We're just hoping it happens sooner than later, because
We'll take a look at it. I don't know, cost-wise and stuff. We'll take a look and see what we can do. We can't make any decisions tonight on it, but we can look at that.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like you need help. Okay.
Thank you.
I would just like to thank you for sharing that with us and keeping that in our attention.
No problem. Thank you.
Does Candace want to? I'll talk also. Candace forehand. And then
I'm just part of that neighborhood, and we are, hoping to alleviate some of the problems. personally, to me, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I want them to grow up in a safe place, not only with a trail to ride bikes off the street where there's not a lot of sidewalks. But also, I don't want them, playing in fields that have syringes and condoms littered around. As a final statement, I guess we're requesting to make this an agenda item.
We'll look at that and see if we can bring it back, and we'll let you guys know about what we can do about it. I can't give you an answer right now, but
Sure.
Our city manager will get back to you, right?
That's correct, Mayor. We're aware of the issue, and we can look at exploring some different types of funding options like we did in Bringle Terrace.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll look at that. Okay.
Thank you for coming out,
Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
for putting the work in.
You don't want to talk anymore? You're Brad, right? I'm Sean. Oh, you're Sean. Okay. Is Brad here? Who's Brad? Oh, you already talked. Okay. Davita? And you...
That's my wife.
Okay. Okay. No. Okay. 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 Then we have one more speaker, J.C. Wynn.
Mayor and council, thank you. Sorry I wasn't here at the beginning, but I texted the mayor. I've been working really hard on a job, and I just want to thank the council for their consent to waive the fees for the Easter egg hunt at the Bringle Terrace Park, and I'd like to invite the community to get behind the event and bring out all the kiddos on the 19th of April. Between 9 and 12 is our planned time that we had it, and we're looking to have another really good time with face painting and balloons and candy and the revelry. So, and all the council members are invited to come out and check it out too and see how much fun we have out there. So, thank you, and once again, sorry I wasn't here earlier. But
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
All
Thanks
right, you're welcome.
for
Thank you.
organizing it all, JC. Got one more speaker. Cliff Kaiser.
Sorry for this late, but
I
you
didn't
all
s-
know the.
I was gonna mention that. I was like, well,
All
I
right.
don't see it on here, so. Oh, you have a. Oh, no, you could do it. Oh, you want me to do it? Okay, that was one of my little things I have here when it gets to me. Okay, we'll start with, who wants to start? Do you want to start, John, tonight? We're to remarks. We're going to do our remarks right now.
Thank you, Mayor. So today I had a opportunity to meet with the Historical Society, which I've never done this before. I've been to the Historical Society, but I never had a chance to discuss the topic we had today, which was honoring local Vistans into the Hall of Fame. And I'm not going to give you the names because I'll leave that to the Historical Society. But it is really impressive what people do for our city and what they have done in the past. And some of the people that are, just being mentioned on that list has got to be an honor, because you look at some of the other people and what they've done. And you'll see some of these people have donated money, thousands of hours of time. And it's just important to recognize people like this. J.C. Wynn's one of those people who's donating a lot of his time, and there's other people here. Cliff, you've donated time to the city to make it a better place. And it really is, these types of people that make our city a better place. Just don't forget that St. Patrick's Parade is coming up. I believe it's going to be on March 16th. Oh, sorry. Oops. Okay, I'll leave that to the mayor. She can give you more details. She has a whole flyer on it. So let me stick to my announcements then. The Vista National Little League this Saturday is actually having a pancake breakfast. I told you guys a couple Saturdays ago I was flipping pancakes for the Lions Club and raising money for the city that way. Apparently we did a good enough job that they invited us over to cook pancakes for the Little League. So it's going to be at the Baptist Church there on Honolulu, and it's from 8 to 10. It would really be great to see some people show up. You're going to be able to eat a full breakfast for about $4 or something like that, and it's going to be raising money for a good cause. Again, these are all volunteers in our city, helping children become better community members, learn how to play a little baseball at the same time. But most important, they're helping our children grow up into responsible adults, responsible contributing adults in our community. So please come out if you have time between 8 and 10 on Saturday to do that. And then the last but not least, I know everybody wants to talk about this, but we see the mayor and Mr. Campbell were at Tri-City Medical this week, and we had the opportunity to unveil a brand new icon that I guess the state of California is now using for disabled individuals. And it's a real neat icon. It's instead of the stick figure that we've seen in the past in a wheelchair, they've got a wheelchair that actually looks like it's in motion and active. So I know the mayor wanted to say something about that.
I just thought it'd be nice if we could be the first city to do it. I haven't talked to our city manager yet, so I might get. I don't know what the cost would be, but it doesn't seem like some blue paint and some white paint and a couple of signs wouldn't be too expensive. So I was thinking we could at least do it for our civic center and put the new icon up. So it's pretty exciting. Actually, the Tri-City Hospital was the first hospital in the state to do it, and we could be the first city if we were.
Hurry.
Yeah, we have to hurry.
Hurry. Yeah.
It's a real neat movement here in the state of California, because the idea is that they're focusing more on the fact that individuals with disabilities, various disabilities, are becoming more mobile in our society, and they're not stick figures. They're people just like you and I, and they are becoming and are very active. In fact, one of the individuals that was there was
Jeremy McGee is his name. He's actually going to go in the is it the board contest over in Hawaii? He's going to
paddleboarding contest.
Yeah, paddleboard contest over in Hawaii. So he's
remarkable.
Yeah, yes. And so we have to watch for him. I think he said that's this summer. So, but he has a website. It's jeremymcgee.com. MCGHEE.com, and you can look at his website. So he's going to be in that race next in July. I think he said it was. He's training right now for it. But it's very exciting, for the disabled people that are very active nowadays. Not so passive.
Yeah, so hopefully the council will embrace the idea of seeing what we can do as far as changing our icons, maybe just here, even at City Hall.
Yeah, that would be. I think it'd be a great thing to do. Oh, so Councilmember Campbell.
Thank you. In addition to attending the event at Tri-City, I had an opportunity on this last Saturday to go on a ride-along with the Sheriff's Department here in the city and learn more about what they do in our community. It was a great opportunity, and I appreciate them letting me go along with them from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 2 in the morning. So, also went to a ribbon cutting at Palomar College for the Teaching and Learning Center, one of the great new facilities at Palomar College that serves our community here of Vista for the thousands of students from Vista that go to Palomar College. It's part of their new facilities and expansion programs that they're doing at the college there. And, just Councilman Aguilera, to follow up on what you said about maybe an opportunity to embrace the new movement regarding disability icons in the city. Is that something that maybe the council would be willing to put on the agenda to look at some of our policies and across the city at our parks and rec facilities as well as here at the Civic Center, and identifying ways that we can become more proactive, like Tri-City Hospital and the new movement of recognizing that individuals with disabilities are becoming more mobile in our community?
Councilmember Coles.
I was asking a question.
I was writing a note. I'm sorry. I took some cold medication. I'm a little bit.
This maybe is a discussion item to bring back so we can actually talk.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, that's basically what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're on the same page.
Okay.
Well, with two in agreement, I think a third will be redundant, but I too think that would be appropriate to discuss in the future.
That's three. Okay. Sorry, Cody.
Just want to remind folks, if you get away from here in time, the Vista Unified School District is hosting its first annual STEM project tonight, which is science, math, and technology at Washington Middle School until 9:30. So they're going to have exhibits and some ideas of what's going on in our schools in that field. And I hope to drop by there at least for a bit to see how things are going and to support those efforts. I also want to thank the the entire council for what I thought was a terrific goal-setting workshop that we had last week. I think we were able, in an informal setting, to, as a council, agree that we want a better city, and we're all going to work together to make this the finest city in North San Diego County, if not the whole part of Southern California. So we have some great goals that are going to be on our website. Take a look at them, help us support them, and we will help support you. Also a reminder that Operation Hope is having its annual fundraising dinner this Saturday night at the Elks Club. It's always a good cause, a great turnout of fun people, and a great time to support what has become a real positive impact in our community. Thank you.
We also went to the community clinic dinner last Saturday, wasn't it? Last Saturday night, yeah, that was a good event too. Amanda, Council Member Rigby.
Thank you. I agree with Councilman Coles. The goal-setting workshop that we had last week I thought was very productive. It was very well moderated by Peter Starks. So I am really pleased with what we've come up with and where our goals are for the next 2 years as a city council, and I'm really encouraged by that as well. Although I have to say I don't want to limit ourselves just to being the best city in North San Diego or Southern California. I say we just go for the whole enchilada and say we're the best darn city in California. Right. That's just my goal. I also attended the Palomar ribbon cutting this week, which was nice, along with so many other events that I'm invited to go to out in the community. And I want to thank everybody for your warm reception for me everywhere I go, and your invitations and your communications with me on issues in the city. And I thank everybody who's here tonight to talk to us as well. And with that, I'm done.
Okay. I have a few little things here. The VVBA's North County St. Patrick's Day Parade and Festival is this Sunday, March 16th in downtown along Indiana and Main Street. And I think we're the only one in North County. They have the one in San Diego, but I think we're the only one in North County. People come from all the cities, and people seem to really have a great time at that. The festival begins at 11 in the morning, and the festival runs from says the parade will begin at 11, and the festival will run from 10 to 4, but the parade itself begins at 11 on Indiana and Main Street. There will be kids' crafts and activities, as well as live entertainment and vendor booths. If you haven't been downtown in a while, it's a great opportunity to have some fun with a family and to check out the kite sculptures located in the area, shop downtown in Vista, and enjoy a fun day outdoors. Information is available at vvba.org if you want to look for more information on that event. Our fourth mini State of the City is on Monday evening, March 17th, at our library over here at 6 p.m. You're invited to learn more about the city, what's going on in the city, and where we're going, and kind of our goals and at that. And I'm happy to talk with anybody at that event. Our off-duty Vista firefighters will be at Vista Village and Santa Fe intersection from 6 to 9:30 on this Thursday morning, asking motorists to fill their boot. The annual boot drive benefits the San Diego Burn Institute. And so those are my announcements. And so our city manager, I think, has some announcements. Oh, what did I miss?
I forgot. I did make a note to myself, but I think it's a little bit of a bragging right. Last Saturday was the Vista Community Clinic's Gala fundraiser, where they raised a record amount of money. But we had a competition between the Vista firefighters and the Carlsbad firefighters, kind of a bidding war, who would pay the most to have a dinner with either of the firefighter groups. And the Vista firefighters won out. They raised $2,000 for a dinner for 8, which was a record. And Carlsbad did well too. They were well represented, but Vista edged them out. So
they made the Carlsbad firefighters do push-ups.
Yeah, they were trying to get their bid up. They brought out in their turnouts, and they were hunky-looking guys.
Yeah,
so people had a bidding war going, and
they had Carlsbad on one side and Vista on the other side, and they were bidding against each other. It was kind of
the auctioneer, trying to get the Carlsbad bids up higher, had them do push-ups and show a little more muscle. And
yeah, but Vista came out on top.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. But thank you. Okay. Oh, and one other thing I remember, that we did the Rancho Bueno Vista Little League had their, they got rained out, and so last, was it Saturday? Friday. Last Friday, they had their grand opening, and also National, right, Little League, and also American. Did they do it too? All the Little Leagues had their grand opening. So John threw out the ball at the one and did a good job. He threw a strike. Yeah. So anyway, they were fun. Okay, now.
Okay,
your turn.
Just a couple items. The San Diego County Humane Society is holding their affordable licensing, vaccination, and microchip event, which will take place on Saturday, March 22nd at Bringle Terrace Park. So we'd encourage anybody with pets that needs to have them vaccinated or licensed to please go there. There's going to be a vet available. They'll have a mobile unit on scene, and it'll be from 10 a.m. to noon. And you can go to cityofvista.com for more information on that. And the second item is on our website. We have it listed that there's free aid available to motorists that are stranded on the highway. So if you have a flat tire, you run out of gas, or you need assistance, you can call 511 on your phone and say roadside assistance. And through SANDAG and Caltrans and the California Highway Patrol, they're trying to work with motorists to get their cars off of the freeways so that it's safer for the motorists. So that's an option for those that are stranded on the freeway. And lastly, I just want to thank the council for a successful goal-setting session, and thanks for all your participation.
City Attorney have anything?
I have nothing to add this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
How about our City Clerk? Anything down there? Either of you? No? Okay. With that, we are adjourned at 6:53.